We can build a toilet in the hall. What about the kitchen? I predict that cooking will not be traditional Chinese food. Stir frying with too much oil fumes and no air fryer and steam oven will be our main cooking tools. Then I'll be much more relaxed. Mother-in-law smiled. We haven't solved the dishwashing. We now have a dishwasher, and you don't allow disposable containers. My wife always knows the key point. Just kidding. Who wants to wash dishes? The dishwasher must be usable. I have forgotten how to wash dishes now. And dishwashers save more water than hand washing. It needs electricity, but we can always save it. The dishwasher is needed. I immediately said, we have both war and I'll just add a small booster pump to ensure the water pressure of the dishwasher. Dad, I don't know much about circuits. You see, the 220 volts from the blade battery into the living area, 5 battery packs. To buy 2, replace the spare battery pack. The battery is rolled and replaced. What do we need to configure? My father-in-law took a pen and paper to a 60 kilowatt cabinet with a 3-level air switch group. But my father-in-law hadn't figured it out. But it was already 10 o'clock. My wife and I decided to go home. After all, today is mainly for acquaintance. We had already calculated so much on the way. It was a pleasant surprise. Tomorrow my wife will pick up her sister. I also need to go to the factory to buy. We should go to bed early. My father-in-law lives on the 6th. I had a whim, suggested taking stairs. After all, there'll be no elevator in the future. So we went down the stairs step by step. Nowadays, high-rise buildings are basically used as safety stairs, usually except for cleaners and maintenance staff. Almost no one uses them. The stairwells are also in the corner of the building. There is almost no external light. The lights are a bit old, flashing on and off. The atmosphere created by this is immediately felt. My wife and I were joking, but my wife ignored me. I awkwardly touched my nose when we reached and there are no windows below. Only a small ceiling light flashing from time to time. We've never taken the stairs downstairs before. Now it looks exactly like the cold staircase. I couldn't help joking with my wife. I looked down. When did Ruzuo come out? I stretched out my hands. Ruzuo rarely jumped into my arms. We'll take the elevator to the first floor. Turn the corner and it's the last flight of stairs. And the fire door on the first floor is ahead. I don't know which family is so immoral. Sealed the door with an iron fence. Or it was directly sealed without a door. I walked over and knocked on the iron fence. The iron fence naturally made a clanging sound. I turned around and was about to complain to my wife. A shrill roar exploded in my ears. The sound was so piercing. It was the kind of sound that stretched vocal cords and trying to squeeze out water. A loud noise sounded in advance. The safety door crashed down. Bloody and naked, bared faces were distorted through the fence. And countless hands were reaching through the gaps, stretching out hard. The pungent smell of blood and decay came towards me, which was sick. Fortunately, I happened to take a step back, avoiding being caught by zombies. I quickly ran up a few steps, seeing the iron fence firmly blocking the zombie. I felt a little relieved. I went back to pull my wife. I hurried back to inform my parents. I didn't catch my wife's hand. He raised his finger behind me. I looked back. I was terrified. Several zombie rats with little for left were trying to pass through the fence from above the zombie. The first one was already falling to the ground. It's over now. I never saw this thing in the beta version. I didn't think of, although the state of these mice didn't exceed the normal movement ability of mice, but they can use zombies to cross the rat guard. The zombie mouse has fallen to the ground and quickly pounced on the stairs. I was desperate. I closed my eyes helplessly. A meow sounded and the zombie's roar. The zombie's roar instantly disappeared. I opened my eyes sharply and saw a bright light. I was sitting on the sofa. Ruzuo was lying in my arms at some point. My father-in-law was writing and drawing at the table. My wife is looking at me with concern. What time is it, wife? A little past 8:30. It's so early, right? You asked my dad to calculate the material and then you fell asleep. You woke up after a few minutes. I looked at Juzuo and he looked up when I woke up. He stretched and stood up from my arms and walked unsteadily away. Somehow, I seemed to see arrogance in his gait. My father-in-law has already made a material list. I took a photo and sent it to the electrical store and leave a message to stock up. I'll pick them up tomorrow. Then I communicate with my father. Dad, I thought about it. Partition between the second. It may not be enough to just use fences in case the cockroaches and other animals. I'm afraid it can't be stopped. What do you think? My wife answered. Use the bulletproof glass of our bank as a wall to seal the corridor. It's not realistic. The production cycle of ordinary tempered glass is about 5 days. This is still 10mm ordinary tempered glass. I taught my wife about glass knowledge. If it's the multi-layer, 30mm multi-layered combination glass, the production cycle will be 15 to 20. Not to mention that we don't have the whether we can buy it, and the installation of tempered glass requires a frame. The size of the glass is inversely proportional. The smaller, the denser the frame. The connection between the frame and the floor, the more integral it is, the heavier it is. If not installed well, the glass partition will even fall down by itself. So many articles say that. How many days before the outbreak? You can order the right size glass, and replace the original glass is impossible. It's too late to heat and cool the tempering furnace. If someone with ulterior motives comes, they can directly remove the glass frame. The method is simple. Big hammer 80, small hammer 40. No cheating on anyone. So to block the way to the upper floor, the only way is to use cement. The owner previously to redo the cement mortar base and self-leveling. So the sand, gravel and cement already on the second floor. It's a waste not to use these building materials, considering the first zombie in the park was on the 28th, which appeared at noon on the second day after the outbreak. We had plenty of time on the night of the 27th outbreak. Fill the stairwell directly with concrete and even the pipe wells and electric. We also use staggered sealing. The water and electricity pipe wells we need are sealed on the first, second. We'll close the unused ones on the third, fourth and fifth. The elevator is on the 4th floor. Add a circuit breaker to the elevator circuit to prevent others from using it. Completely seal off the other floors to the 4th and 5th. Remember to destroy the elevator panel or buy a spare part from the manufacturer. I don't understand. Fool. When people open the elevator, there are 5 buttons. Who would believe there are only 4? This old man is so cunning. I checked it out. This is a domestic elevator. I found the local service provider's phone number. I hinted that there was a flaw and don't want people to press the elevator. The other party was very understanding. You run a bath club, right? I know what you want. It's simple. We have a ready-made solution. You can also use the call bell instead of that floor, and you have to hold the call bell or enter a password with the floor key to reach that floor, but it's not compliant. You can only take it back and install it. Isn't this great? best if you don't come. I quickly ordered to panels, and I can pick them up at noon tomorrow. In terms of space, the last is the stock area. Unlike the cardboard boxes of others, I chose the method of a cargo stack tray. The biggest advantage of pallet storage is easy handling. Forklifts can directly carry the goods away at once. One is 1.5 meters. The staticity of a plastic pallet is 1 ton, stacked 1.6 meters, which is 2.8, 3 cubic meters, 460. The storage area doesn't need to consider the aisle width. It can be compressed to one double track bins and leave a fire interval. It can hold 180 pallets. Take a quarter for the warehouse. The remaining space, we can make hydroponic boxes from this so we can grow vegetables to eat. Continuous shelves can be made on the perimeter of the living area. A total of 60 meters of shelves can be made with 4 layers, 1.6. It's convenient to pick and store. Do you have shelves and pallets in stock? Yes, the manufacturer is about 2 kilometers away from the cold storage. I've ordered from them before. I went to check it out. The stock is sufficient. Hurry up and order. I placed the order. Their inventory was almost sold out. They gave a discount. I paid 50% in advance. 30 days credit. How can they grow vegetables without sunlight? Delayed full spectrum vegetable growth lamp. About 8,000 watts per square, although it may not have targeted dimming, grows so well, but at least they can grow something. Thinking about what I have to do, I found that I had basically done it. Everything that can be planned has been. I discussed with my wife and was ready to go home. Before going out, my wife was still telling her mom, and she could pack up clothes and so on. My eyes were fixed on Ruzuo, but he didn't care at all, and lazily put his hands in his pockets. I looked at him. I reminded my mother-in-law, Mom, remember to put Ruzuo's things away, and we'll move them there later. Ruzuo's tail was wagging happily, obviously. The first thing he did when he opened his eyes was to log in Weibo. Remember the trial, sir? Around 6:30 on June 21st, a US F-35 fighter jet crashed in Japan, and after the pilot ejected and parachuted, and directly hit the Japanese document. Reaction team's protective cover, causing major casualties, and also caused a lot of radiation. I even suspect if zombies came from this. At 6:32, Weibo's top trending topic quickly changed to the US military plane crashed in Japan. I sighed. Turn off the screen. What's coming will come eventually. Life still depends on myself. I'm Yang Wang. I'm a food science major. I accidentally entered the field. However, I still rely on my food knowledge and connections to arrange the diet for my family. I woke up my wife. Yesterday, they sisters had already talked on phone. The family went out to play. The proposal was quickly responded. Even the prescription was filled during the night shift, and it has been sent to my wife's phone. My mom also got up. The three of us had breakfast briefly and assigned some tasks. I naturally contacted the local supplies. My wife drove to pick up her sister. Of course, she had to get the medicine first. The old lady still walks around by herself. About why I didn't let my mom participate in the preparation. I have my own reasons. First, she is over 70 years old, more than 10 years older than my parents. She can't really do much. Second, she usually travels around the world. She has many friends and is busy. It will definitely be noticed by his friends, and it's easy to leak information. Third, he has served the people for 50 years. His loyalty to the people is obvious. Once he knows the truth, he will almost certainly report it to the whether it will be effective or not, but it will definitely interfere with our stocking and living. Look at your dad's Denso D9. It's bigger than our BY Datang DMP. It's comfortable and can carry things. I checked the Denso's fuel. The electricity is full, can run 320 km. You can just run on it. The small gas station near your sister's is cheap. Fill up the car and buy 40-litre gasoline drums. Fill them up and put them under your purchases. You can buy whatever you want when you come back. There won't be a chance. After sending them, I started to do my own things. First, to pick up the ordered electrical materials and entrol panel. I went to the elevator panel. I chose password plus V and hardware license in a compound way. The elevator's person in charge was interested. He saw that I chose the most complicated form. He secretly asked me where I was. Why are you so fancy? I looked at him. I smiled and told him I was a brother. I can fight with bayonet. I asked him if he wanted to see it at night, which scared him green in the face. Then I went to Joe Grain and Oil Company to order rice and flour and various grains. Considering the storage period of grain is only 3 years, I didn't buy much. Based on 15 caddies per person, the ratio is staple food to cost. We stored for 3 years. We don't need much cooking oil. We are all fat. I bought 5 liters for 3 months. I bought 12 barrels of soy oil, considering I reduced soybean oil, but increased butter. It can be used not only, but also for Western food and dessert. We don't eat much flour at home. I took 10 bags of 5-kilogram flour, which is enough. I also took 5 bags of to improve food, asked for pallets, and wrapped with film. I was smart enough and asked them to deliver to my own warehouse tomorrow. I called the shelf factory to urge them. Ask them to deliver the shelves. This don't need so many pallets. Reduced to 30. Because at the Grain and Oil Company, they provided pallets for free and no deposit required. Just roll them to replace. I gave the things in the car to my father-in-law and take him to the site. He will assemble the electrical boxes and circuits at the site. I took the high-speed train to the capital. I came to the provincial capital for 2 reasons. First, I'll find a friend to borrow a 40-foot refrigerated truck. 40-foot refrigerated truck to move the goods received from the warehouse to the cold so that I can ship goods to explain the flow of goods, without being seen by others. Transport the goods to the cold. The second thing is to go to several food companies I found, which produce FD vegetables and soup packs and canned food and soft canned food, which are canned products using aluminum plastic. They have light meal supply chain, taro, pearls, charge, ice jelly, milk tea powder, and so on, and frozen meat products. If it goes well, this container of frozen goods up to 78 cubic will be enough for our family for 3 years. The most important is the refrigeration equipment of the truck is mobile. Take them down to the storage area and set up a shed. It's a cold storage. This cold storage is undoubtedly an alternative to a roof, and we have plenty of insulation materials. In the evening, I pulled a full container back to my own company warehouse. I parked the truck. My father-in-law had already arrived. My father-in-law and I replaced the vehicle engine. My father-in-law pointed the grain and oil and the shelves too. Someone asked what we were doing when we came in. I said, I've taken a project of a township supermarket and they're arriving. The stores over there are ready. Okay, the materials for the soundproof boardroom. I used a forklift to lift them and move them to the 4th floor. I tried it. It's really good. After installing the frame screws, I used the forklift to hold it, align the holes and screw it. It should be hard for you to align the holes. Baby came back in the afternoon. They helped me look after. Don't look for it so fast. They dropped me off and went home. closed the warehouse. We took a taxi to the high-speed rail station to get my pen. On the way, my father-in-law asked me, "You are all hiding plans now. If one day I can't hide anymore, how would you escape?" I watched the traffic lights flash. I thought about tomorrow. I will give your Tengshi D9 and maybe why D10 was sent to the 446. Both cars are DMP models, can run over 1,200 kilometers. The Tang's Fo Giluafiyu. I asked my baby to bring back 160 liters. No need. We have driven over 2,500 kilometers. Bid DMP Super Hybrid system. Has multiple working modes. It has strong power, fast speed, high stability, fuel economy, and other advantages. My tank, pure electric range of 2 kilometers. My father-in-law's Denshin D9D reaches 260 kilometers. It's especially suitable for quietly crossing the zombie zone. I will replace both cars with off-road tires. After the 27th, we block the stairs. We will install protective nets for both cars. The cars are usually parked on the loading platform. In the innermost positions on both, we can build a gypsum wall outside. If something happens, just smash the gypsum wall and go. How to get in when it's time to escape. There may be zombies or people outside. When the liquid ammonia colds, there are escape routes for safety. Just hold the pillar and slide down from it. The owner wanted it to look good, asked me to wrap the pillar. I just need to lay enough energy-absorbing materials. Although we haven't practiced, we can still do it. Don't think like that. Everyone will have to practice after moving in. After getting the car, we went to the farm machinery. DJI's plant protection drone has great power and long flight time, but it's expensive. I'm not going to buy one rented one on credit lease and booked a pilot. After communication, I'll pick up the drone on the morning of the 27th. The pilot will meet me in the afternoon of 27th. I hope he can come. I don't mind taking him to survive together. Check the time. It's 8 o'clock, so we won't go home. Let's go home and have a quick bite, and went back to cold. Turn on all 8 loops of 64. 64 exposure flights, and close the door. I went outside to listen. The sound is not loud, but it can't be said completely. We tested it for half an hour repeatedly. We confirmed that if only one set, the sound became inaudible, so we added a switch to reduce it. From 8 to per group. Let's do it. We removed a switch. We found that the light control was not in sync, but connected the neutral wires with bridges. This is much easier. Unplug the neutral, leaving only 2. Turn on the light again. Sure enough, I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it even outside the door. It took half an hour. I changed the light group to 2 lights each and installed the switches. I also left extra wires. We will install a secondary switch in the living area. If it weren't for the apocalypse, we wouldn't have been able to. I even want to make smart switches. I checked the prefabricated house built by my father. There were no problems. We continued to work with 1 forklift each. By 11:30, the prefabricated house was built. Tomorrow, we'll use structural and glass glue to fix the seams. The interior part, we will do it after the 27th. We went to the 3rd floor to check the corridor. The sealed work, 1.5 meters, 2.4 meters, and 4.2 meters deep triangle space. It's a total of 75 ticks. If all made of concrete, it would be about 17 tons. The staircase can hold about 3.3 tons. It's not possible to seal it completely with cement. My dad and I thought about it for a long time. The final conclusion is to demolish the... I thought about it, Dad. Whether it's cut or broken, the staircase. It's too troublesome. It's too noisy and noisy. We still need to think of other ways. For reinforced concrete, if you don't cut or break it, then we can only blow it up. Mine's explosives are strictly... It's not easy. Ammonium nitrate is not hard. I mean, we can make it ourselves. Ammonium nitrate. It belongs to the National Restricted Explosive. Aren't you a liberal arts student? And I remember you were bad at chemistry. This is not taught in school. We decided on the evening of the... We'll use cement to block the fire door and plant explosives on the stairs. Blow up the staircase in the early morning. The 2 returned to city. They went to take a nice bath. After all, there may be no chance in a few days. Take a bath and steam, rubbing each other. They sat down feeling refreshed. Grill skewers. They began to calculate which appliances they could take. Cold storage, dishwasher, steamer air fryer, water purifier, electric kettle, heater, electric blanket, electric heaters, a refrigerator, and a TV are a must. However, some equipment cannot be moved directly. For example, the TV needs to remove the speaker plate, and the whole family wears bone conduction headphones to avoid excessive noise. On the electric hot pot and we have different views. My father-in-law thinks electric hot pot, and there will be few opportunities to eat hot pot. It's faster than a microwave, which is energy saving. I think the microwave has high instantaneous power, and it's noisy. It's not safe in terms of air conditioning. We are very confused. Air conditioners are naturally good for comfort, but the energy consumption and also make us very hesitant. Foot bath and maging machine were given up, but we will bring a barrel and handshake and measure. Of course, measuring tiles will be covered with sponge and silicone. But it's impossible to shuffle the cards. Massage. Each person can bring 2. The speaker is a must. Not just speakers or any fragile items are not allowed. The tableware at home will be fully metallized. Sweeping robots and smart toilets will be abandoned. After all, they have lost their usage scenarios. The air in the cold storage is clean and dry with no dust. We don't use traditional toilets either, but mobile toilets for RVs. I've finished. I calculated the total power. As long as they don't run at full power, it should be fine. After all, they are online, except for 2 sets of blade and 10 blade battery packs to handle peak power demand. When I send my father-in-law home, I'll return to my home at 2 o'clock in the night. Calculated that. The progress is all planned, and even a little ahead. I still need to hurry, leaving time to deal with changes. I remember someone once predicted that clean air would be sold like pure water in the future, because clean air is an extremely luxurious thing. I now think he was so right. The hot and dry air seems to be sucking out all the moisture in the body, but the air is filled with a rotten stench, which is hard to suppress. The vomiting in my stomach. I finally couldn't hold it. I vomited on the edge of the rooftop platform. My vomit splashed all over the zombie's head. The zombie didn't care about my disrespect. Instead, The human smell in the vomit was what they were concerned about. I looked down carefully. It seems that after the rat turns, their mobility has also been. They didn't have the ability to climb along the wall, to climb up the glass curtain walls and continue climbing. What's more surprising is insects don't seem to be affected by the zombies. At least flies and mosquitoes seem to fly normally. Flies. There are mosquitoes. I felt a sting on the back of my hand. I slapped the mosquito to death without caring. I continued to observe. My back of hand is itchy. I scratched it and felt it was wet. I looked down. The flesh on my back of hand had been torn. The exposed flesh was black, and my skin was turning black. It spread up my arm. My arm was gradually numbing and less flexible. I was terrified beyond words. I saw my wife walking up to the rooftop while mosquitoes were flying around my building. Damn it. What are you doing up here? I shouted, don't come. I tried to lock the door to the rooftop but my body still didn't obey me. Seeing that they were about to meet at the door, I threw myself in the midst of it. I saw the ceiling of the bedroom again. I'm Yang Guang. It's already June 22nd. I found that I chose the wrong refuge. Is it too late to change places now? Sitting on the toilet, I began to recall the details of the dream. The scene in the dream was undoubtedly cold. There was only one zombie downs, indicating that the cold storage did not attract survivors, nor any source to attract zombies. Second, I've seen zombie rats before. I didn't think about it carefully last time. Now I think about the zombie mice's jumping and running speed decreases, indicating that the virus has graded the body's ability. Third, mosquitoes can still fly normally, indicating that the virus has no infectious power. Blocky mosquitoes will undoubtedly. Fourth, the current cold storage is useless, so we must put comprehensive mosquito and fly control. I picked up the phone and called a senior to ask about building insect design of insect prevention. And the senior sent me a location directly and invited me to visit his factory. Calculated that it should be enough. It's not far from my place. It's good to see it in person. I picked up my wife at her parents' house and went to see. When we arrived at the factory, there were already 3 people. My sister-in-law followed us shamelessly. Senior, this factory is a chocolate factory, which makes pure chocolate. Fermenting, baking, grinding, and packaging by themselves. The senior took us to visit the factory carefully, although he was confused why I paid so much attention to the anti-heat, pest, and mosquito prevention designs. He also explained in detail how to, at each key location, to set up corresponding multi-optical traps and killing devices, and multiple active traps, medication isolation belts, and I spent 2 hours taking a lot of photos. I asked him to help me to design a similar space in the similar space, and got the supplier information. We put the 2 boxes of chocolates from Senior into it. We said goodbye to the chocolate factory. On the way back, my wife took the supplier information from Senior and called them one by one to order the equipment. As for rat guards and nets and medicine troughs, we had to make them ourselves. We went to the store to give the car a thorough maintenance, especially the battery and motor, which were checked. We drove the car to a friend's shop, replaced the tires, and applied privacy film to the car. And the car was also covered with matte black. It was already noon after the whole process. The 3 of us had Japanese food. After all, we can't eat fresh food anymore. On the way to the cold, I thought about it. I called my partner, and I customized the stainless steel cages with wheels, referring to be YD Tang and Tengshi D9 respectively. They can cover the car and 30 centimeters away from the car body. The form of the cage, referring to the mountain armor of tank turrets, 5 centimeters by 5 stainless steel angle iron with 3 millimeters thick. When the cages arrive, then rivet stainless steel sheets on top to make a shutter style. Finally, weld the cage to the main beam. The roof luggage rack together, as long as the cage's own wheels can touch the ground. The load capacity of the vehicle, although the cruising range will drop, but the defense will be greatly improved, which is also beneficial to break through the gypsum wall. When we arrived, we put the exchanged chocolate and rodent-proof items, put them back. I discussed with my father-in-law about blocking the ceiling of the corridor platform, although the stairs are gone. But what if something can jump in? We thought about it and we decided to blow up the stair. We use forklift to support the cement prefabricated board. Sometimes we can even use cement to smooth the prefabricated wall into one piece. I took my Dendron 9 to the forest store for maintenance tired film. I also brought back some film when I came back. After all, according to the law, the front windshield and front seats are not allowed to be tinted. I can only leave it to my wife and sisters. Whatever they do is fine. My work at night was 2 drill holes in both staircases. I was on the 5th floor alone to load the explosive. I carefully put the explosives away in the morning. I just need to solve the detonator and it's done. I stretched and got in the lift. I found that my father-in-law had changed the panel. Now I don't know the password. No one can go to the 4th floor. The processing factory called me at noon and said the cage was done. I quickly delivered the cage I bought in the morning. I changed the truck to pull the cage. There are also snake belly wire mesh and seamless steel pipes. I bought 5,000 blasting nails at home. It's usually used to install the ceiling keel. Just modify it. Back to the cold room. My father-in-law and his friends came back. We mainly bought bedding, towels, bath towels, and toilet paper, female hygiene products, daily necessities, etc. The MPV was filled to the brim. Ladies sorted and placed the inventory. My father-in-law and I picked up the welding gun and started to patch the cage. We worked until 9 p.m. The cage was basically done. The outer wall of the cage is covered with a 5 centimeter gap. It can defend and maintain a certain observation ability. The outer ring is wrapped with snake belly wire. The blade-shaped seal is outward. The entrance is at the top, facing the skylight. After entering, pull down the cover. For stainless steel columns fall under gravity of 2 cm, will lock. The cover cannot be opened from the outside. The cage itself has 12 elastic universal wheels, which improves the car's mobility, but also share the weight of the cage. Out of my evil taste, I sprayed 2 cages with black matte paint. Just wait until the 27th to combine them. We will go back to my father-in-law's home. My sister-in-law handed me a list. Brother-in-law, our stock of medicines and equipment is not enough, and the way of storage is wrong. My sister-in-law explained to me, when you asked my sister to pick me up, we bought all kinds of essential drugs, but like anti-inflammatory drugs, iodophor medical disinfectant, saline gauze, tape, degreasing cotton swabs, and medical dressing. I was sweating all over my head. His list also included 2 refrigerators, a pressure cooker, and a distilled water generator. I know how to sterilize with pressure cooker and make distilled water. Can you explain why do we need 2 refrigerators? We brought back a freezer. Different medicines have different storage temperatures. And avoid daily opening and closing. Temperature fluctuations. So it's best to have two readers. My sister-in-law patiently. Moreover, we also need to stock some common vaccines and injections, such as rabies vaccine and tetanus vaccine. Okay, I give up. Since that's the case, let's make it a little bigger. An 80-litre bedroom freezer, a vertical refrigerated. We have to at home. Just take one out. 10 kilograms of sterile cotton, 1 kilogram of sterile gauze, 20 sets of disposable gas masks. This should be carried with you, with a fan and a filter tank. 12 sets of active ridders. Keep this in the car. 4 sets of level 3 suits. A bucket of 5 kilograms of penicillin powder. A kilogram of vitamins from A2ER Complete. Only then did I know that 1 kilogram of vitamin C only costs 40 units. Dawn. Today is June 27th. After 6 days of our preparations can be declared to be in the final stage. In the past 5 days, we have completed a series of complex and difficult operations. We successfully built a shelter. Here I will make a simple summary, which are roughly divided into 4 aspects. First is clothing. In addition to delivering all clothes to the shelter, we have also prepared a year's worth of underwear. To cope with possible extreme weather, we have prepared multiple sets of cold season clothes. We have prepared high-level protective clothing. We have prepared lightweight protective clothing. Even dogs and cats have been transformed into as protective gear. Next is food. We not only stored 78 cubic meters of frozen food, including fast food packs, and divided chicken, duck, cattle, sheep, pigs, but also 110 cubic meter supplies, including 50 bags of rice, 30 bags of coarse grains, 15 bags of flour, 10 barrels of soybean oil, 50 kilograms of butter, 30 catties of various seasonings, various kinds of noodles and noodle products. We have established a 150 square meter and a basket of chickens. Of course, we have enough pet food. We have stocked 1,500 catties of degradable cat litter. Say yes before you speak. We transformed BYD Tang and Tengshi into armored vehicles. This modification also brings an unexpected benefit. Between the car body and the cage, we directly gained an additional storage space. We can store an extra 120 liters. To store here, my father-in-law used seamless pipes to connect the fuel tank and the oil drum, even without getting off, to fill the gas tank with the gasoline in the barrel. The 2 cars successfully travel over 3,000 kilometers, because starting from tomorrow, the 2 cars will be shelters, escape plan when they can't be used anymore, and they are backups for each other. So the cars are also stocked accordingly. 6 sets of outdoor protective suits and active respirators. 60-liter UV sterilized water storage bucket. 2 medical kits. 3 blankets. 2 sets of spare clothes for each. Emergency dry rations for 60. There are also the same number of supplies on the roof. Fixed in the cage also has 120 shovels and other tools. The vehicle is parked on the first floor, facing the exit gate, hidden behind the light steel, behind the false wall built with gypsum board. Finally, the first and second floors, and the most laborious, the first and second floors is still a messy sight. The metal products that might threaten us were all collected on the 4th for outsiders. It is a long abandoned and has no available materials. The water and electricity pipes from floors 1 to 4 have been sealed and filled with a large amount of sticky dulo material. They will eventually form a mass, a sponge-like object, blocking passage and absorb vibrations and sounds. The 3rd and 5th floors are empty, to make the rare intruder mistakenly believe that there are no, or anyone. The elevators upstairs and downstairs. The existence of the 4th floor cannot be seen after the staircase was blocked. The 4th floor will be completely covered. The cold storage area on the 4th floor. The living area is wrapped in thick soundproof partitions. Even if the sound outrage reaches, nothing can be heard outside. However, this also brings a disagreement. The sound insulation is so good, whether the volume in the living area needs to be limited. After discussions, the family still reached an agreement to keep the volume low. The living area is outside. 40 pieces of standing boards divide the area into chessboards, using the coding of modern restaurant and battle board, making it convenient and fast to find materials. The garbage disposal area is located in the corner, including toilets and processing area. The treatment area is responsible for both, but also solid waste. A specially built soundproof operator turns solid waste into bricks and piled up in the high-intensity UV and high concentration of ozone-filled garbage room. Finally, the breeding area, including hydroponic boxes and chicken. This is the future, the only source of vegetables and fresh meat. The electrical part, in addition to the planned refrigerator, tea rice cooker, steamer oven, electric blankets and heaters, water purifiers, and air fryers. We also brought an electric. There are also 2 small drones at home, and the direct protection drone, the original water and electricity systems in the building, the original power supply system of the elevator, the key components of the large workstation, such as circuit boards, water pumps, and the inlet and outlet valves. We deliberately. The above is the illusion that the copper parts were stolen. The cables were cut and removed. The well that the original owner secretly dug have been properly hidden. The stairs are covered with power generation glass, looks like a glass curtain wall. We're also accepted by, so there is actually enough water and power. I'll lay in bed again and again, over and over again, to review my preparations for tomorrow, no matter how well prepared. Let a trace of panic. Take a deep breath. I got up and finished it. We need to face this situation. Get up at 6, turn off the electrical appliances one by one. At 7, the whole family has breakfast. I told my mom yesterday that she would travel today. My mom has packed her things for the trip and was picked up by my father. They will go to the shelter first. At 9, the movers arrived and start to move the packed electrical and my mom's other supplies downstairs. I had already moved the truck to the closest place from home. The workers only need to load them and fix them to the pallets as required. At 10:12, the moving is over. I closed the door. I paid the movers separately. At 11:48, I drove the truck on the highway on purpose. I drove half the city. I drove the truck to the cold. The security guard at the factory gate was the same and went to the city. I don't know if it will be like in my memory. When I returned to the park, it was zombies. At 12:20, with the help of forklift, the unloading was done. I went upstairs to find my mom and took the old lady and delivered the truck to the warehouse 12K. Mom, you don't need to say anything. Mom understands your idea of hiding information. You can now warn others about the disaster. Right here. Posted here. It won't expose our shelter. I waved to my father-in-law to drive the car over. We'll leave after the warning. Now, this is the only car that can go out. Half an hour later, the old lady silently got into the car after the call. We hurried back home because 5 minutes ago, there were videos of zombies biting people on TikTok. We need to hurry back and close the shelter. It took less than 10 minutes to return from 12 km. My mother-in-law and wife were anxiously waiting at the elevator. We pulled the car into the garage. The cage was hanging in air. When we install the fake wall, we will park the forklift at the elevator entrance, remove the battery, remove the circuit board, and stop the elevator on top. I will return to the car from the slide, fix the cage and the car body together. When I was pulled upstairs by my father, it was already past 3 p.m. The city has become hell. There are no living people on the street. Only zombies are wandering. I dare not rest. I took ammonium nitrate and from fifth carefully, one by one, into the holes drilled in the stem platforms and wires, and a total of 220 holes. It was already 5 p.m. and my wife, who was guarding the monitor, I confirmed that there are no zombies nearby. I pressed the detonation button through the thick multi-layer sound in the sound of the explosion. It was like a knock. But then the sound of the staircase falling was loud. It was rumbling from the top floor's monitor. I basically achieved my goal, but there was a lot of smoke. After another half hour, I checked around. Defense is no problem, and there were no issues. Now we can officially live in this place. It was dinner time after we finished. To celebrate the family's successful retreat, and fresh vegetables can't be stored for long, we decided to have a big meal. Even the precious Coke was taken out. The TV was broadcasting emerging news. The host calmly announced the official notice. The cause and origin are still unknown. Residents, please stay at home and wait for rescue. The country will not abandon anyone. Meanwhile, on our phone, we also receive the information of each family. We choose to keep silent. After all, we are not in the community, and we don't need supplies. If there is any transfer information, we can respond later, after dinner. My mom and mother-in-law were tired and went to sleep. I argued with my father-in-law, and finally I stayed up the first night. This morning, my father cut off the monitoring signal in the guard room and transferred the video to the living area. The planned toilet was moved out. Now the small cubicle is the monitoring room, the monitoring shelter for internal and external. The internal and external monitoring is centralized here. 8 screens are put together to form a small wall. Except for no sound. Everything is visible. On the screen, the street is empty. So the street lights automatically light up. There's no one on road and no cars. It's not surprising. This place is on the edge of the industrial area, and behind is farmland. This year it's hot, wheat ripened early, and was harvested cleanly. The nearest community is 3 kilometers away. It's a newly built farmer resettlement house. A few days ago I passed by. I heard that the ribbon cutting and handover ceremony. So there are no people living there. This place itself is neither a main road nor not close to the highway intersection or nearby counties. Few people come here, and even fewer now, while watching them on it and read the news. Not surprisingly, in the news, the virus circle centered on the neighboring capital is spreading rapidly. The army has been quickly mobilized, just like the trial server. Facing the rapidly spreading virus, the army has no good solution, at least for now. The army is reluctant to shoot at people. Until dawn, my sister-in-law took over. It's the same as the test for. There was no one or car in the surveillance. I went to sleep. If it's right, the old man who guards the gate will come at 10. On the way, he will meet a child. The zombie was bitten a little. When he arrived, I happened to meet me who finished work, Hibeni, while chatting with the workers, and was killed by me and the worker. When I hurried back to the city, I experienced the city under 24-hour zombie attack. Was devastated. I saw my mother's body near the mahjong parlor, but I couldn't get into my father-in-law's house. On the way home, I ventured into the Pamju Subi. I grabbed some food and rushed home to reunite with my wife. I finally took the risk due to lack of food. I went out of home. I shook my head to throw away the messy thoughts. I set an alarm for 10 o'clock on my and fell asleep. I'm Yongguang. I've moved into a shelter, but who can tell me what the disaster has developed into? I woke up before 10 o'clock. I lay in bed and looked at my phone until the alarm went off. I got up to brush teeth to save water. We all switched to pet edible toothpaste. It's really convenient, but the taste is hard to describe. Walking to the living room, my mother-in-law took it out of the steamer oven. I had preserved egg and lean meat porridge. I sat down and ate it noisily, but I remembered yesterday's leftovers and food waste. There weren't many leftovers. I ate most of them in the morning. The leftover food and kitchen waste. It's just some vegetable leaves and so on, and the leftovers were fed to the dog. The food waste disposer you bought is useless. The dog ate it all up. I didn't expect the dog to have this function. It seems that we can save some dog food. Give it less dog food and no more biscuits. Save it for me. The stupid dog didn't notice it at all. I'll give it a bite or two. After scraping the porridge, use a silicone spoon to clean the bowl. Put it in the dishwasher. I took a glance. Yesterday's luxurious dinner. It couldn't even fill half of the dishwasher. It's still okay. I walked to the desk, just opened the door. The old man is back, riding electric bike, riding the bike with, and the other hand was swinging from time to time. He must have been bitten. I saw the old man enter the gate, park the bike and walk to the guard room, and open the door and close the door. The air conditioner's outdoor unit. A few minutes later, the guard room suddenly opened. The old man staggered out of the guard room. He took 2 and fell to the ground. My sister-in-law was nervous, grabbing my clothes. Is he dead? I moved a few steps sideways to free my clothes from his grasp. He's dead, but not completely. I pointed to the screen. Look, he's moving. The old man on the screen kicked his legs a few times and suddenly rolled over with an impossible waist-bending movement. He rolled over and stood up. He twisted and gradually stood up. Zoom in the camera. We could see his skin had turned grey and white, and the blood vessels turned blue and black. My sister-in-law was excited to observe the zombie's behavior. I went back to the living room, put on headphones to watch drama. On the 3rd day of outbreak, I checked the waste. The wastewater tank has exceeded 10%. 12, and bought 3 20-litre black water tanks. I informed the whole family and decided to carry out the first sewage work. First the toilet, wearing a mask, and drag the black water tank to avoid breakthrough of the drain. In addition to adding 3 layers of water barriers, to gravity one-way valves, and a mechanical gate valve at the sewage outlet, we made 3 layers of covers with 5mm stainless steel and a load-bearing shock-absorbing rubber plate in the middle. When cleaning the black water tank, I carefully observed the solid decomposition and odor situation because the first 3 black water degradation agent and deodorant were added at twice 1.5 times and 1.25 times. By comparing the 3 black water tanks, I decided to add them at 1.5 times later. Then there's the wastewater tank. We have to water storage sewage tanks with a capacity of 5 tons, which are also equipped with ultraviolet ozone. One is used as a clean to store the pumped well water and keep it full daily, 1 ton for 1 ton for 1 ton. Rolling update. The other is a sewage tank. The lower 30% of the tank has a sludge deposition area, 10 and 50% of the tank. We made a hole for draining sewage. The sewage in the sewage tank is not just stored. To flush the sewage pipe, we dumped 100 kilograms of sewage and 10 kilograms of clean water to flush the pipe. After all this was done, we closed the sewage pipe again. After washing hands and disinfecting, my sister-in-law pointed to the lone zombie and said, "They probably have no vision, but can feel the light. They don't like the sun and hide in the shade. They are very sensitive to sound and can accurately follow the direction of sound. Their movement is not flexible, but by temperature is greatly affected. They are flexible and worse at low temperature. Their sense of smell is not obvious." I nodded. Is similar to my memory. Today, the internet is full of information about players and government news. On the one hand, it encourages people to continue waiting for rescue. On the other hand, authorize the army to shoot at the infected. According to the official, the army will first establish a safe zone and then gradually clean up and expand the safe zone. The initial safe zone will be established in small towns and villages because of low population and few infected, where a defense system can be built. I checked the community. There are many survivors, but most of them have no food. Some people have started to try to exchange food. I regret a bit. Why didn't I think of turning on the home surveillance to observe the situation outside? There's nothing I can do now. On the 5th day, the shelter is still the same, quietly and empty. Only the zombie is wandering back and forth. It's funny that the zombie seems unwilling to bend over. Before the old man turned, he closed the factory's sliding door, but the pedestrian passage was half open, which was just a head lower than him, but he just didn't want to bow his head and get out. He just bumped a few times and walked away. Negative emotions began to spread online. Some people started to stir up trouble, saying there was nothing overseas, and all the other peaceful remarks. Almost instantly, some overseas compatriots type photos and videos to refute. Pang did not only repeatedly emphasize not to go out, keep quiet and wait for rescue. He also sent out the message of the first safe zone. While attracting praise and expectations, Yinging Yugu came, so the comment section was full of vitality, and everything is shining. Come, there's a car. My wife is calling me on our duty room. My father-in-law and my wife and sister are on day shift. Day shift is from 6 to 27 hours each shift. Night shift is 5 hours. My wife is on the last shift of the day shift. I sneaked into the room. I saw on the screen a white SUV was swaying towards us. The vehicle was driving slowly. The vehicle stopped at the intersection. The driver got off and looked at the wheels. It seemed that the left front tire was flat. He got back in the car and drove towards us. It seems that he wants to enter our factory. He had to change the tire. I quickly checked the surveillance to find the zombie. I found him at the far end of the factory, although it's far away, but there is a straight road between it and the gate. The mobile gate of the factory is license plate for my convenience and stock, the recognition function, but only the recording function, which means any license plate can enter. So he drove in directly, although we couldn't hear it through thick walls. But from the zombie's movements in the monitor, they obviously heard it. It started walking towards the gate. The driver turned right and stopped near the gate and watched the gate close. He got out and looked around, then walked towards the guard room. He stopped after 2 steps. He looked in the car and walked back to the car. There should be someone else in the car. Stopping his adventure, the driver found a small can from the trunk, which looked like tire sealant, and started squatting beside the left front wheel. My wife and I were nervous watching the screen. The zombie had already walked more than half the way, and it was about to enter the same picture. The driver finally stood up and was talking to someone in the car. He suddenly turned around, which was only 10 meters away. He rolled and climbed into the car. He started the car and reversed onto the main road, hide at the door. When the door opened, he ran away quickly. I saw the gate close behind the car. My wife and I breathed a sigh of relief. I found my palms were sweaty. While feeling relieved for him, I complained about him. If you had run away, you should have taken the zombies away and left me here. On the 10th day, unexpectedly water and electricity were cut off, and the internet, in the midst of the cries for help, only lasted for less than 20 hours. Only the solar street lights are still there, maintaining the last dignity of modern civilization. Without the internet, we also fell into an information cocoon. We can only watch the TV movies we saved before. The silence of communication also made us silent to each other. To avoid mental problems among us, my sister-in-law volunteered to lead the exercise. We also made internal management requirements to limit TV time. But unexpectedly, my father-in-law actually made a microwave antenna. Although the signal is poor, but at least we can receive some TV signals. National One has been rolling out a national statement. The provincial station is broadcasting, but the local stations have no signal. The provincial and municipal stations in the neighboring province. The neighboring province has more troops and stronger control, and the neighboring provinces and infrastructure are also better. So the power supply is better than ours, and our lives has also entered a bottleneck period. The bottleneck here is not about daily supplies or waste disposal, but our fresh vegetables and fresh meat. They're finally gone. It's okay for the 3 of us young people. The 3 elderly people are a bit unaccustomed, although I prepared 14, more than 200 kilograms of FD dehydrated vegetables, but the rehydrated, they don't have the taste of fresh vegetables. The frozen meat has the same problem. The 3 elderly people showed a significant decrease in appetite 40 days after the outbreak. The provincial TV station first appeared. From the footage, it should be in a hastily built studio. The green screen effect in the picture is not stable. The good news is that the province has established a safe zone. The safe zone is located in the southern mountains. It was originally a military training base, coinciding with the outbreak of the army. When the army found the disaster, they set up a safe zone in a hurry after resisting the first few zombie attacks. The troops began to take the initiative and rescued a large number. They even went 100 kilometers to the capital. TV stations and other facilities were brought back. In the TV broadcast, citizens should decide whether to go to the safe zone, or wait at home for rescue. Some precautions for defending against zombies. We discussed it at home. We have sufficient supplies and strong defense and reliable escape. There's no need to risk going to the safe zone. It's better to stay in the shelter. My wife suddenly raised a question. At this time, not many people can watch TV like us at this time. Who is this news for? My father-in-law slapped his head. I'm getting old. I forgot about the radio. The radio should have been working. We looked at each other. None of us thought of preparing this. My mom took out it from her bag. Bluetooth player for square dancing. My radio has been broken for a long time. Only Bluetooth. I took it apart to see what was wrong. My father-in-law took out it and opened the case. This capacitor is common. Just disassemble a small I took apart a massage chair. I found the capacitor. I replaced it and it was night. I operated the repaired radio and started to search for station. National, provincial and city. They all have, of course, the content is similar. Where is the safe area? Everyone can go according to their own situation. The repair effect of the father-in-law is good, but also normal radio stations can be received. Surprise, I also received taken from a local military airport. On a whim, I flipped through my phone. I found the one I met, a Northern Radio Enthusiasts, DB's channel. I tried to listen to the zombies. The sound of many zombies suddenly appeared. It scared me a lot. The voices on the radio were depressed and panicked. There were too many, like a tide, and I couldn't see the end. The corpse tide from the north. The corpse tide from the north. I remember he was more than 1,300 km from other places, even further north. They are not from abroad. Sister-in-law came closer. The zombies are less active. They migrate south. It shows that zombies have level biological traits. Biological traits. Could the zombies still reproduce? My wife once again showed her amazing. I thought about it. I took my wife back to room. I found a video from the learning materials. My wife's face turned green. I also felt sick. Back to the living room. My sister-in-law showed us a piece of paper. According to the zombie downstairs moving speed, it took 3 minutes to walk 200 meters, about 4 kilometers per hour. Humans move slightly slow because of the sun during the day. They fear the sun, so they can walk for 8 hours a day, 1,003. It will take about 40 days, considering crossing cities, rivers, and ditches, and finding places to avoid sunlight. It's not surprising that I didn't see zombies in the test server. The heavy ran a few days. Washed away the power generation glass clean. The power generation is incredibly high, over 80 kilowatts, and there has been no sound leakage for a month. We also relaxed the noise limit back to normal because of sufficient power. Hydroponic vegetables have a first harvest. The elders' loss of appetite has been alleviated. The biggest surprise came from the Ruddicans. I bought a cage of them on a whim, 15 hens and a total of 16. I originally thought a supplement to fresh meat, but they started laying eggs. But the direct problem is that the food consumption will increase. After all, we didn't plan the chickens' food and didn't prepare staple food. After 5 days, we determined that if all 16 chickens laid eggs, the main food will be reduced by a month. If we brood once every 6 months to replace laying hens, it will be shortened by 3 months after democratic voting. We decided to keep 15 hens and 9 of them, brood once every 6 months. On the 55th day, it was the day when my father-in-law and mother-in-law, our houses are across the river from each other. In Beta, we could use the flash of our flashlights to report safety until there was no response. Now the whole family is reunited in the shelter, although we can't see the sky, but the family is safe. So today we organized a grand feast to celebrate the wine and beverages we've treasured, and even ice cream sticks. My father-in-law and I carefully evaluated safety and fire prevention measures. We grilled mutton kebabs and chops together. We are having dinner. A fixed frequency notice flashed on the TV. The studio and the host appeared, and the report, multiple groups of zombies from the north have breached small safe zones in many northern provinces and residential, causing a large number of new infections. The corpse tide is further enhanced. Currently, the corpse tide is continuing to move south at a speed of everyone put down their bowls and chopsticks. Watching the video, the zombies rely on their numbers, piled up to the edge of the safe zone and gradually accumulated to the same height, and finally climbed over the wall and entered the safe zone on the 70th day after the outbreak. After seeing the zombie hordes attack method, my father-in-law, we carefully inspected the defense system, especially the platform after the stairs, to prevent zombies from piling up to a suitable. To the platform, I used the remaining cement to make the platform a slope, so zombies couldn't stand. Today, there is another good news that the first batch of root and eggs hatched. This means that our sustainable meat production plan has made a big step forward. On the 90th day, according to the TV report, the vanguard of the southward zombie, due to the rising temperature, stopped their southward march 10 days ago. And there are still zombies moving towards the lions. Now the lions are in the north, on the north bank of the river, 400. Over the past, more and more safe areas have emerged. The nearest safe zone is only 50 kilometers away. But in my opinion, the walls of these small safe zones are being raised. I'm afraid they won't last long in the face of zombies. After 3 months of use, the sewage tank has accumulated a considerable amount of solids. It's raining today. Taking advantage of the rain, we completely drained the sewage tank. The deposited solids were removed through the drain at the bottom. Taking advantage of the excess power, we brought all the heating equipment over to dry the moisture out, squeeze into blocks and pile them up there. The whole family put on protective suits and respirators. My wife keeps an eye on the monitor and pets. Others go to the tank to operate. First empty the black water tank, then use the upper drain of the sewage tank to simply rinse the black water tank and soak it in diluted 8 for disinfectant. Open the lower drain of the sewage tank to start draining. This is the most tense moment, and the speed is slow. It took about an hour to drain the water. I asked my wife, the zombies are hiding from rain. The sewage outlet at the bottom of the pipe is troublesome. On the one hand, it's sediment and the height is low and can't be directly led to the drain pipe. On the other hand, we are afraid of clogging the pipe. So the drain was left open. I checked the sewage area again, whether the 2 doors in the living area are closed. My father-in-law and I pushed a trolley with a 150-litre stainless steel water tank. My mother-in-law controls the valve. My mom is responsible to catch the possible leakage. My sister-in-law is in charge of operating. Now the ozone generator has also been turned off. Everything is ready. Open the valve. It's black, a sticky substance like semi-melted chocolate. Even though the self-contained breathing apparatus, it still couldn't completely stop the stench. Fill a truckload, close the valve. My father-in-law and I, we dragged the heavy cart to the solid waste room, turn off the UV lamp, open the door to confirm that ozone concentration. We entered the room, the compactor for solid waste, with multiple layers of fiber cloth. We also placed a large basin under the machine. We used a basin to catch the sewage. My father-in-law and I to dig out the viscous sediment and pour it into it. Fill it about 8 full. Cover the fiber cloth layer by layer Start the motor. Gradually align the extrusion plate. Start the machine, because we were afraid of bursting it, so the downward pressure is not. And gently press. Normally it takes 20 seconds to press. We operated for 2 minutes. It finally turned into a flat mud slab, or a mud sheet, if we write on it. If it is discovered in a few hundred years, would it be historical? The old man's laughter came from the respirator, which was muffled. I also laughed. If they want to study the composition of the clay slab, would they vomit on the spot and be convicted, destroying relics? In the laughter, the clay tablets were piled up together. After squeezing, I brought 2 electric heaters, while the power is sufficient to dry them all out quickly. Otherwise, there will still be stench and biological risks 150 days after it started to cool. The cooling is not surprising. After such a long time, the country in the safe zone has resumed some social functions, including weather forecast, are the first public services to resume. We are in the shelter. We can't really feel the temperature change. After all, the insulation layer of the cold storage, it keeps warm and cold and also hot. The warm, humid, and well-lit planting area. Hydroponic plants grow extremely lush, especially lettuce and chives, which grow fast. We have harvested many rounds. While we were happily growing vegetables and raising chickens, my sister-in-law suddenly shouted in the headset. Something happened? Back to the living room. The radio was playing DB's panicked voice. They're coming again, more than last time. All foreigners. There were so many of them that the roads were crowded. For a week, we spent time in the channel of the DB boss. He described the scale of the zombie tide. We heard his trouble of not being able to find food, and how long the food at home could last. On TV, the country announced that it would bomb bridges, cut off the southward route of zombies, and when the zombies gathered on the north bank of the river to eliminate zombies in the next 50 days from the northernmost to the south, every few days, we heard that bridges were blown up somewhere, and where the zombie hordes were wiped out. On the 220th day, the temperature is close to zero. As a response, we checked all waterways and heating equipment to avoid frozen pipes bursting. We also prepared for a long-flowing water. We harvest the crops we grow hydroponically. We tried to harvest as much as possible, and those that couldn't stand it were gathered. We added a circulating pump to make a long flow. The zombie horde has moved to the central part of our country, near the river and rivers, dividing the zombie hordes into pieces, which reduces their size and restricting their movement. The low-temperature zombies move slowly. These conditions combined make this place an excellent environment to kill zombies. The north of our country is snowed in, and the sporadic zombies that didn't move south are no match for the army. So, in fact, the north has ended this apocalypse and began to rebuild the zombies in the south due to our inability to clean up, continue to migrate south. The brief opportunity for zombies was also seized by our leaders, destroyed the bridges to prevent our zombies from continuing south, and also cut off the path for zombies to return north. Of course, our borders are not necessarily rivers, so some blown up bridges are south of the border, and the neighboring governments did not object, if there are any more. If it's Yongguang, I can proudly say, the preparations I made for this apocalypse, none of them is superfluous. 435th day after outbreak, order in the north and south has been basically stable. Can be said for sure. The zombies have been cleaned up. The zombies in the central have been cleaned up piece by piece. It's not far from our rescue. Today's news said that in our city. B. No survivors have been found in the past, nor have we received any new distress signals. Therefore, in order to solve the zombie group once and for all, the country will use bait in 10 days to the zombies in the surrounding rivers of City B to the City B, quickly clear them by nuclear weapons. The nuclear weapons planned to be used have small size, high power and low radiation residue. It is independently developed by us, with complete independent IP. Our family looked at each other. B City will clean up nuclear weapons. Wouldn't that blow us up? We should have hidden better to avoid the nuke. We can't withstand a nuclear bomb, can we? What are you thinking? Pack up and run. Both cars are always ready to go, although they haven't been used for a year. But from the indicators, they are still good. My father-in-law and I discussed it. We thought we couldn't just leave like this. First, if we leave, the shelter will still be closed, so we can pick up some things in case of rebuilding. Second, we should eat well before departure, to ensure we have enough physical strength to deal with changes on the road. Third, we go to the safe zone now, although there is a rationing system there, but the materials we bring won't be requisitioned. They still belong to you. Fourth, although money continues to circulate, cash is inconvenient to carry. We need some hard currency. Bring all the crops that haven't been planted. Bring all the seeds. Bring all the quail chickens. Boil all the eggs. Bring the juliao. 1 car with 1 bag. Bring a little of each type of beans. As seeds. The explosives we made before are divided into 2 kilograms per car for self-defense. Canned vegetables and various sauces combined together. A total of 20 kilograms. In the cages outside the car, each person brings 3 sets of clothes. 10 sets of underwear. Finally, the battery pack. Electrical appliances are used as defense and supplies for future life. Before, we need to deal with the zombie in the park first. Otherwise, it will affect our preparation. The way to deal with it is simple. Put a chicken in the elevator to lure it into the lift. Close the door and cut off the power. It worked. Flapping Hen quickly attracted the zombies. After the zombie entered the lift, we pressed the button on the 4th floor to close it. We cut off the power immediately after the elevator rose. Then we heard a chicken scream. Screams on the monitor. The zombie ate the chicken and started wandering inside. To ensure safety, we let 3 chickens out. After wandering in the park for a day and a night, we saw they were still alive. We put on protective suits. We took the other elevator to the 1st floor. We started to remove it. After the wall was demolished, it was time for the government to lure zombies out of the city. We saw from the monitor a fixed-wing military drone hovering low and slow over the city, and occasionally dropped some living things, or played loud music, to lure zombies out from everywhere, to the north of city. We also sent out drones for the first time, flying in the air and returning to the base, to meet them. The next day we changed. The military drone at the meeting point dropped a package. We used the drone to retrieve it. After repeated disinfection, there was a military walkie-talkie and a letter. The first part of the letter confirmed the aviation time, the route, and the docking method. The second part is a guide on isolation and disinfection requirements. The third part is about the protection of personal items and instructions on work allocation based on rationing. The last part is a list of urgently needed materials. After reading the letter, I have a new idea. In addition to keeping our own items, other items we can share with the government. in exchange for some special care. After all, our family, there are only 3 laborers. 3 old people, obviously do not have an advantage in rationing. After negotiating with the government, all our electrical appliances, batter materials in the car belong to us. We will share other materials with the government in exchange for the 3 elderly not working and enjoy normal treatment. In addition, the government will send troops to meet us and carry the supplies. We waited for 2 days. On the second day after the zombies were lured, we saw the convoy coming in the surveillance and the flag carrying honor and pride. I knew my end of the world survival was over smoothly.